Would you mind sharing where your interest in yoga came from? Was it a specific event, or
Hmm.
did you want to satisfy a particular need by practicing yoga, or did life drop it on your head, or did it knock it on your head like it happens for many people? What was the journey? Please take us through it.
So I think it all started. I think it was started when I was a student at university. I think living a student life and sort of abruptly having the awareness of what student life was and getting involved in being a student kind of left me in a state of confusion, I would say, about myself, how I, my place in the world. Um, and shortly after I graduated, I think it's fair to say I was quite heavily and deeply involved in conspiracy theories about, how the world is being controlled and there's various powers, etc., that are kind of controlling our lives. Um, and it kind of moved me towards looking at religion. I suppose that was the sort of first step because these people seem to know or have answers for, the sort of I don't know, turmoil that people experience and have the answers, or claim to have the answers. So I kind of got involved in exploring. I would say that was like an academic pursuit of knowledge and understanding, but it still didn't feel sufficient enough. Um, at the same time, after I graduated, I had a series of jobs, um, and I began exploring a career in personal training. So giving instruction for fitness, health, well-being, things like this. And I still am deeply passionate about that. So as I was kind of going through a process of applying for jobs and wanting to step up the kind of employment ladder, I became self-employed and found a position in Dubai, all related to personal training. But it all kind of fell through. And just, I think, almost a year before that, even that application process, I was watching videos of Sadhguru, and that was sort of part of the kind of process of understanding what yoga really was. My first contact with yoga was actually doing a class um, once a week while I was a Domino's delivery driver. So I'd finish delivering pizzas and then delivering pizzas, and then I would go to a yoga class. And I had some sort of experience of deep relaxation, but after I started watching a lot of Sadhguru's satsangs, I became aware of a much deeper, kind of mystical aspect, and the possibility of an experience beyond something physical, which really opened my eyes up to, what yoga really was and the potential it really holds. But at that time, I didn't do any practices. I was just sort of listening, to Sadhguru's satsangs, and a lot of what he was saying, not only what he was saying, actually presence. I think Sadhguru's presence just sort of created a certain stillness within me where, I could just sit, unmoving in a sense and just listen. And I think when I look back at it, for the life of me, I can't understand why I didn't take the first steps to do inner engineering any sooner, the introductory program. But after I applied to go, abroad for an employment opportunity, and that all failed, I think that was the lowest point I ever felt in my life. You know, uh, I suppose coming from uh, parents who are Indian and have high expectations, and already kind of being a personal trainer is already a bit of a, what's our beta doing? Yeah, it's not exactly an academic profession to be a fitness, professional. But I sort of felt really low. And in that moment that it happened and I was rejected, I kind of just took it upon myself to say, this isn't the end. There's always a step ahead. And I was on the Isha Foundation website and saw the teacher training program. And I only just saw this this little block in the side column advertising it, and I thought, this is it, so I jumped straight into that, and whoosh, off it took me. Yeah, quite a magical journey.
Wow, you kind of blasted through the first couple of questions I have, and you wove it together perfectly. So makes my life very, very easy and simple. So
Slow
just
me
to
down
be
if I
clear,
that.
sorry, you were saying?
Slow me down if I'm going.
Totally fine. Yeah. Podcast can be 15 minutes, 1 hour, half an hour, well, whatever happens, happens. And so if I understood you correctly, in terms of yoga, you directly found yourself in contact with Isha and Sadhguru. You didn't go through any other route.
I think it was a system of yoga called Shivananda style yoga, as the teacher had explained to me in those, once a week classes I used to have. By that time, the intention to teach never really came about. I think I was sort of in and out of jobs, and I was kind of trying to establish myself with a career that was related to my undergraduate degree. So there was sort of a lot of confusion there, and I never thought, oh, I could become a yoga teacher or an instructor at that point. But soon after I got into personal training, I was very much in the state of, oh, I want to develop and create a body, and very aesthetic, but also providing help for people in the best way that I knew. But as I was going through that journey as a fitness instructor or a personal trainer, I could definitely feel from my clients at the time that there's still something missing. They would come to do a class, and when you're training someone, there's obviously this banter, this back and forth conversations you have, and you get to know these people quite deeply in their own personal lives, what's going on. And so it's not only the fitness that I was offering. I felt like it's also some level of like kind of not that I'm qualified or anything, but counseling or giving advice or guidance or your perspective. And I thought, I'm really not. I mean, who am I to give any advice? I can only give a perspective or a different perspective, or advice, a piece of advice. So I kind of felt like that people, even though they have, reasonably good shaped bodies, they're physically fit, there's still something, wrong or for them at least, something that doesn't fit right, and they're still kind of seeking to gain a physical body that gains appreciation from people, but still something inside is missing. So I thought, like, as to add to this repertoire of not repertoire, this skill set that I have, I wanted to kind of be able to offer more, but it didn't happen. Even that, as I was watching Sadhguru's satsangs and kind of understanding about yoga, that possibility of becoming a teacher never really kind of arose in my head.
Namaste and welcome to this channel. If you enjoyed this video, please take a second to hit that like button right here. Thank you. If you want to see more from the same interview, please click here. And if you're ready to watch the entire interview, click here. Ready to subscribe to this channel? Wonderful. The subscribe button is waiting for you right here.